excited to share with you a graduation card today. Now, I'm going to be using these two stamp sets, the You Did It image from the Woody Sisms, and then the numbers that are in the Make a Difference stamp set. Now, this card is called a pull tab flap card. Let me show you a sample that I got in a swap that was made by my friend Noreen. Now, I looked at this card and thought it looked a little intimidating for me, but I asked Noreen how she learned how to create it, and she said she watched a video by Dawn Griffith. So I found that amazing tutorial that Dawn created in April of last year called the Pull Tab Flap Card, and I learned how to make this card. So let me show you a graduation card that I created using this technique. So we're going to start with a Whisper White piece of cardstock. I'm going to fold this in half. This is 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder to crease the edge and make it nice and flat. So now let me show you the pieces that we're going to need for this card. So I have a piece of navy cardstock. This has been textured with the Absolutely Argyle 3D embossing folder. This is a new embossing folder that's in our current mini catalog. So I placed my blue cardstock in here and ran it through the Big Shot. Now this blue cardstock is 5 by 3 3/4, and then I'm also using a piece of silver foil that's 5 1/4 by 4. Now these will layer together, but before they do, I'm going to do some punching on this navy piece. So I have my classic label punch. I'm going to push it in as far as it'll go across the side of the cardstock, and then I'm going to punch out a little piece right there, and then we're going to just set that to the side, and I'm going to show you the next piece that we need to complete this card. So let me move this over. I'm going to grab my Simply Scored tool, and then I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's 2 inches by 6 inches, and I'm going to score this at 2 inches, and then I'm going to score it again at 2.5 inches. So now from where the score lines are, there's a short side and there's a long side. So we want to do some punching on the long side where there's the biggest amount of cardstock from where the score lines are. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in my punch till it hits the back of the punch and punch out and make a decorative edge. This is the Scallop Tag Topper Punch. So now you can see that that was punched on the side of the cardstock that's furthest away from those scored lines. So I'm going to set that to the side and show you the other pieces that I cut. I have a 2.5 by 2.5 silver foil, a 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 Night of Navy, and a 2 by 2 Whisper White. So these are the three we're going to need, but we're going to start with the piece of Whisper White. So I'm going to use my Night of Navy ink, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the ink pad. And then I'm going to use the stamp from the Make a Difference stamp set. I've used the numbers 2 and 0 to make a 20. And since this is the class of 2020, it's going to be very easy to just stamp this image twice, and we'll have the class year featured there on the front like that. Okay, so now we're done with that stamping, and we want to go ahead and layer these pieces all together. So I'm going to use my liquid glue. And I'm going to put liquid glue on the back of this 2 by 2 Whisper White. I'm going to layer it to the 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 Night of Navy. And we'll press it down like that. And then I'm going to flip it over one more time, add some more glue. And then this is going to be attached to the silver foil, which again is 2.5 by 2.5 inches. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to use some letters from the hand-lettered Prose dies, and I've taken these letters, or the frames, and I put them on my Big Shot, and I've die cut the letters GRAD for grad. So this is a really beautiful set of letters, and it is currently on the retired list. So I'm going to start by taking the letter G. Now, just for the video's sake, it's faster for me to use a snail, but normally I would probably use glue dots or the liquid glue. But I'm going to start by just adding the snail quickly, and this works too, to add the G on one edge, and then I put the D on the other edge so that I know that I have to fit those other letters in between, so everything will fit nice and even. And then I'll go ahead and stick on the R, and then we'll add the A. And this should line up really nicely and look like a nice cursive word that says grad. Okay, so now it says 2020 grad, so that's all done. So the next step is going to be taking a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, and with my Memento ink pad, I'm going to stamp up the image that says "You Did It" with the graduation cap from the Witticism stamp set. And then I'm going to use my Night of Navy Light Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm going to go ahead and just color quickly the little cap with the Night of Navy ink. And then the next color I'm going to use is the Daffodil Delight marker, and I'm just going to brush a little bit of color on the tassel. So now that is all done, and then we're going to fussy cut that out. Once it's all cut out, it's going to look like this. So I'm going to take a dimensional and I'm going to place this on the back, and then I'll peel off the backing, and then we'll place that right on top of the letter A, and that will just be the final little decoration for the front of our card here. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit more stamping. This time we're going to take this piece that we punched. Remember, we punched on the long side, then it has that little scored mark, and then it has this little 2-inch square that's folded in. So on that little 2-inch square, which is opposite of the end that we punched, we're going to go ahead and stamp that image one more time. And so then we'll take our markers and we'll color it the exact same way. Now, I don't know if you're somebody who likes to color or doesn't like to color, but these Stampin' Blends make coloring really easy because they're so smooth. And this Witticism is a perfect set too because the images are really simple to color. Okay, so now that's all done. And so now we're going to start to put this all together. So we're going to use some double stick tape, or this is our tear and tape, and I'm going to put it right next to that colored image. I'm going to put a little strip of tape that's going to be in between those two scored lines that we made. Okay, so you can see that. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put another piece that's on the edge of that 2-inch strip, and it's directly underneath the piece of cardstock where we just stamped and colored. So I'm going to remove the covering of the tear and tape in the back, and then I'm going to flip around and I'm going to do the same, remove the covering on the front. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, probably would have been best to leave the covering on the back piece, but everything should still work out fine as long as I'm careful. So then I'm going to take this 2020 grad piece and I'm going to adhere it right to that scored line, right along the edge of the scored line. So we have that scored line, and then there's that one other scored line underneath that's next to the 2-inch square that we colored. And so now I've already removed the backing of that tape, so I'm going to go ahead and take my Night of Navy piece. I'll take the Scallop topper punch and I'm going to just feed it through the hole. And then I want to be really careful that I can see where I'm going to position this. So I'm going to fold everything down. I'm going to make sure that I don't stick that tape down yet until I get this exactly where I want it. So you can put it in the center, you can put it to the side, but as soon as you get it where you want it, where you can see a little bit of that scallop topper peeking out on the side, then you're just going to press down with your fingers so that that double stick tape will tape down to the front of your card. So that's all. That's how that works. And so now you can see when you pull that little topper, it's going to flip the front of the card open. Isn't that fun? So now we're going to add some dimensionals to the back of the card. I'm going to use about 5 of them, and I just want to avoid that area where that tag is coming through. So just put them around the edges, and then remove the backing, and then this will get mounted right into the center of the silver foil piece like this. So I'm going to just press this on the silver foil, then I'll flip it over. I'm going to add some liquid glue, and then I'm going to take this and press this onto the Whisper White card base, and then that will complete the front of the card. And so now you can see when we pull the little scallop topper, that front panel will flip open to reveal the hidden message. So now we need to make a way to make it easier to open. So I'm going to take and cut a little piece of the denim ribbon, and then I'm going to take that ribbon and put it through the hole in the scallop topper punch, and then look what I have, a little tassel. This is a part of the best dress tassels in our current mini catalog. I'm just going to thread the ribbon through the top of that tassel, and I'll tie the ribbon in a knot, and it's good like that, or you can go ahead and double knot it if you'd like. And then of course after you knot it, you want to take your paper snips and just clean it up a little bit and trim the ribbon down like that. Okay, so now our card is complete. You have this cute little embellishment on the front, you have the tassel on the side that you can pull to reveal a hidden message, and then this is a full card that you can open up and you can write a message or put a gift inside. Now let me show you a couple other versions of this card that I created for some other graduates. This is for a friend in Canada who's graduating from a school whose colors were purple and gold. And this card is made for a graduate here in Kapolei whose school colors are the teal, black, and silver. So this card is easy to adjust with whatever the school colors are, and of course you want to make a matching envelope to go as well. So this card is a little bit more detailed than a card I would normally make, but I wanted to do something extra special for the special graduates of the class of 2020. I know that this has been a challenging season for them with all that's going on in the world today, but I hope that when the graduates receive this card, they will know that they are loved and that we are all very, very proud of them. I hope that you enjoyed learning how to make this and you can use this card to bless the graduates in your life. Thanks so much for watching. Aloha!